Okay, I just shared a really nice video that I couldn't stitch, and I'm a total noob. I don't know how to download the videos and how people do this stuff. But Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is one of the greatest women that has ever lived in my lifetime, uh, those words just came out of my mouth. I disagree with her on some issues, but across the board, she is consistently outspoken. I'm pissed off at her for a few things, but still, she is really, really good. And she's really, really good on this one point that she was talking about on The Daily Show. So if you go to the videos that I share and you see the one that was posted today, just before this one, um, so it would be like at 1:47 p.m. on January the 8th, where I shared it. And she's talking about how we have a big immigration problem in the U.S. And it's not an immigration problem in that there's too many people coming, because there's not. Really, in the U.S. we have plenty of room for people. Okay, it's never been an issue of not enough room, but we have a lot of undocumented people. And she said what she should do, and ironically enough, Ronald Reagan did this in the 80s. Okay, for all the Republicans out there that want to say this is a crazy idea, this is something that Ronald Reagan did, and you seem to love him. Anyway, so we have a lot of undocumented people in the U.S. So what we have to do is get a fully organized process in place, and it's like an amnesty program where you get people that are undocumented to come and be documented and have a clear pathway to citizenship. Now, a lot of people that talk about citizenship have never had to go through the process. I had to go through the process with my wife. Let me tell you, our immigration system is screwed up. My ancestors arrived in 1675. They arrived in Flushing, New York. They were processed off the boat with their whatever documentation they had. They said, okay, what's your name? Okay, we're going to change the spelling of your name. That sucked, but everything else about the process is fine. Our immigration system didn't really change that much from when my ancestors came over in 1675 until the 20th century. In the 20th century, why did it change? One reason. Why did our immigration system change? Because non-white people were getting rights. That is the entire reason. If you look at our immigration system today, and you look at the systemic changes that have been put in place since the late 1800s until today, every single thing that they do impacts countries of people of color. A person coming from a European nation has a much easier process than someone coming from an African nation. And people say, no, the immigration is all the same. Technically, yes. However, there are quotas that are in place. There are only a certain number of visas that are given for countries of people of color, whereas in European nations, it's unlimited visas. Did you know that? Did you know that a British, for the UK, if 10,000 people apply, they're going to process 10,000 people. From a country like the Philippines, 10,000 people apply. But guess what? They put a little retrogression in place. What does retrogression mean? It means that if you apply today, that application is going to sit on a table for 6 years before it even gets processed. That's an oversimplification, but really that is what retrogression is. It is a built-in delay for countries that contain people of color. Our immigration process is racist. It's all racist. There's a brother on here that I love his stuff. He goes, hey, good morning. He's got such a warm, friendly voice. And he always says, hey, good morning. As we know, everything's racist because it is. America is built on racism. America is built on white supremacy. And until we are honest about that and we start breaking that down and analyzing what that really means, in situations like justice and equality in the court system, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That is the ugly stuff that's easy to see. The harder stuff to see is our immigration system. We should never have a situation where there are people in cages at the border like we have had for the past 3 presidencies. Obama, Trump, Biden, every single one of them. There's families being torn apart and put into cages in the border. That should not happen in a free nation. Absolutely not. And you say, well, what do you want to do? You let them all in? Yes, let them all in, because every boom to our economy has followed a boom in immigration. Immigration brings innovation. It brings economic stimulation. People immigrate. They got to spend money. They got to build houses. They're doing stuff. You know, this myth, there is this horrible myth that people just come to the U.S. and start mooching off of things. Let me tell you what, okay? In the immigration process, you have to sign a document that says that you know you cannot claim any government benefits for a certain number of years after you immigrate. We had to sign that for my wife, even though I'm an American citizen, even though our daughter is an American citizen from birth. Yeah, that's another thing. She's born abroad, but because I'm an American citizen, she is an American citizen from birth. We have this beautiful certificate, and a bunch of right-wing idiots keep trying to say that somebody born outside the United States is not a U.S. citizen. Suck it, okay? My daughter can become president one day, even though she was born in the Philippines, because she is recognized as a citizen from birth. So all this racist crap has got to end. We have to stop the difficulty and the oppressiveness of our immigration system. I say, open up the borders. And by open borders, I don't mean everybody just gets to flood in, okay? Let's do it the way that my ancestors were done. Documentation. This is who we are. Okay, cool. Come in. It should not take more than 48 hours to process citizenship. Absolutely not. There's no reason. You know why? Everybody wants to say, well, we don't know who we're bringing in. We don't know, they might be criminals. Okay, might be. So many people born here. Most of our criminals are born here. There's no process to check people that are born here to make sure they're okay. And most of them are not okay. You know why? Because most of them are born into white privilege and they wallow in it. And that's how we have the modern Republican Party. White people wallowing in their white privilege. So I really want to see a push, and I'm tagging AOC in this because AOC knows what's going on. I want to see her work on this. I want to be a part of this process. I want to bring the change that America desperately needs. Part of that change, my dear brothers and sisters, is that Muslims have got to be Muslims, because our brother Alhaj Malik al-Shabazz, Malcolm X, he said, Islam removes whiteness from the white man. America needs Islam, but the Muslims have got to represent Islam. They got to stop representing culture. They got to stop representing Arabism. Muslim American culture has got to reign supreme, and by that I mean we got to be Muslim the way that Allah has told us to be, to defend the rights of all people, to act out against oppression, and to hold up justice and equality. And a big, big part of that is the immigration system. Immigration has got to change. Immigration has got to be fixed. And America has got to shed this sin of white supremacy. Assalamu alaikum to all of you. Remember, as always, justice, freedom, and equality for everybody. Black Lives Matter, and free Palestine.